Let me tell you what a match that is, with the Southern title hanging in the balance, and then the war, the main event. No stopping the match this time around. No disqualification. We're talking about the Moondogs going against Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett. Lawler and Jarrett, they have been focusing on these guys for a couple of weeks after that event, which really began in Kennett, Missouri 10 days ago or so. Continued at the Coliseum. Richard Lee got the worst of it last week. Yeah, he's going to be there all bandaged up, I'm sure. Right here, right now, you got Jeff Jarrett and the King himself. King has the crown in hand. I want to get him over here and talk to him just a minute about this action coming up. They had a great victory here today, and Jeff said you want to, if the Moondogs want to rumble, they can do it too. And Jeff, I think you proved that in that match here this afternoon.
Yeah, sure did. You know, Dave, looks like you got your table messed up out here. It looks like there's been chairs thrown everywhere around. Everything seems to be a little messed up. Well, I'd like to tell the people out there, and I especially like to tell the Moondogs a little something. You know, everybody knows when you go to a pet store and you look in the cages and there's a bunch of 7 or 8 different kinds of dogs, and you finally find the one that you like and you want to pick it out, and you take it home, and as soon as you get it home, you play with it and everything, and then for the next year or two, if you let that dog do whatever he pleases, he messes up everything. He messes up all over the house. He tears up the carpet. He chews up everything in sight. Yeah. That's exactly right. Chews up everything. But what you've got to do is you've got to take that little puppy, those little dogs, and you've got to take them to obedience school. That's right. And as soon as they do something wrong, you got to smack them on the nose, and you got to smack them upside the head, and you got to put them on the butt and tell them no. Well, Moondogs, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. Time to go to school. It's time to go to school tonight. That's exactly right. Because tonight, there's no stopping, there's no disqualification. It's just going to be, we've done taking care of Richard Lee. It's just going to be the King and Jeff Jarrett against the Moondogs. And boys, it's obedience time. That's all I've got to say.
You know, I got to admit, for weeks and weeks, I'd be wrestling against Kamala, or I'd be wrestling against this guy or that guy, and I stood in the back, and I'd just sort of watch with a little bit of envy as Jeff and Robert Fuller would go out and have those matches with the Moondogs. Because you see what you saw earlier in this show, when you saw about 15 solid minutes of chairs getting busted overhead, of guys getting their faces run through fences, of everything but the kitchen sink, and sometimes the kitchen sink getting thrown in the ring, that right there is the King's kind of match. That's what I cut my teeth on. That's what I love. And when I'd watch Jeff and Robert get to go out there, I got to tell you, I was a little bit jealous. Well, now, baby, now I'm right in the middle of it. And that is right where I want to be, Moondogs. And tonight, you're right, I am excited because it is just a few short hours from right now. We're going to head right over to that Mid-South Coliseum. And Moondogs, I know you can't read, but maybe somebody would tell you that on that screen down there at the bottom, it said no stopping, it said no disqualification. There must be a winner.
That's exactly right.
And tonight, boys, if you thought what we did last week, and if you thought what happened to your precious little Richard Lee was something, like Jeff said, it's time to go to school tonight. It's time for the dogs to go to obedience school. It's time for the dogs to learn that you're supposed to lay at our feet. And you're supposed to lick our feet. And before we get through with you, that's what you're going to be doing. Do you understand that, dogs? Tonight, at the Coliseum, we are going to beat you like the dogs that you are.
That's right, Jerry. If I can say one more thing, and I want to tell you this, Richard Lee. A good friend of ours, Jackie Fargo, used to say, if you want to come down and see a wrestling match tonight, don't show up, because Moondogs and Richard Lee, you're going to go to obedience school, and that's a promise from Jeff Jarrett and the King.
7:30 tonight at the Mid-South Coliseum.